All right. Hell, we've switched places. Everybody, welcome. We're here for the Music Business Club Happy Hour with John Phillips and Matt Phillips of Silverback and Red Light Management. Cheers, guys. I'm rocking my 7 p.m. Eastern Time local IPA and my Closer to the Sun koozie from a few years ago. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us back, Reed.
Yeah. So, for those of you who are watching right now and weren't around for the first conversation, we're continuing a conversation that we started back in October last year when everybody was super deep in live streams and, we did this thing more often. So we're picking back up. In the last conversation, we went super deep on both of your history getting started in the music business with Matt selling records out of the trunk of your car up and down the West Coast, and John booking Mike Watt at UCLA and stuff. We talked a lot about the Sublime legacy and how Long Beach Dub All-Stars and Stoopid really continued carrying the torch and growing that community. And today we're just going to jump straight ahead to 2021 and talk about one of the things that has grown from that legacy, which is Closer to the Sun, the destination event in Mexico, which you guys have been producing with Slightly Stoopid for how many years now? Is it the 7th year?
It's going to be the 7th year, yeah.
Yeah. So amazing. The lineup itself is enough to get anybody who likes this music really, really excited. But this is like the epitome of a festival plus. I was telling an old friend of mine who doesn't pay any attention to this genre of music just about this event and how it's basically every artist and every promoter's dream to have an event where you can be there for multiple days in a row and you're not packing in and packing out. And not only that, it sells out instantly because that many people know it and make it an annual event for themselves. So hats off to you guys and Stoopid for really creating something that so many people have grown to love and make an annual vacation out of. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's one thing we look forward to every year, putting together and like going to as a fan and somebody who's working it. It's just one of the most special events of the year that we really look forward to bringing. Losing it in 2020 was kind of, it was like there's just something missing that week of the year, but happy we're able to bring it back in 2021.
Yeah. So this year's lineup, like I was saying, it's jam-packed. Anybody who knows anything about this genre of music would be excited about it. But of course, Slightly Stoopid, Revolution, I believe for the first time coming to play Closer to the Sun, right?
Yeah, Revolution for the first time. We're excited to have them come for the first time, and it's something that's been in the works and talked about for a few years. So, it's nice to see it come together for this year and the year back off of the pandemic.
Yeah, coming back with a bang. We've also got Stephen Marley, Iration, Cypress Hill, Pepper, Common Kings, Hyrie, The Movement, and Denim coming to play for the first time this year. It's about as stacked as a lineup can get for an event like this. Are any of the other artists first time? Well, Denim is a first time.
Denim's first time. Common Kings are first time. Cypress Hill's first time. Iration played the Old Resort.
Mm-hmm.
See who. And Hyrie, The Movement, Steven all played the current one. So, but yeah, we're excited. I don't think we could have dreamed up a better lineup for it. And some of the bands were bands that we had booked for 2020. And it really started it, as The Movement have been a part of this and one of the first bands we booked for 2020 because they're always one of the highest bands up there on the fan requests. And, we definitely use that fan request while programming it's, you know, definitely something where we want the fans to have a voice in it. So, you know, to be able to pull it all together for our first year back was really exciting. And like for us, you're so deep in it, and then when you kind of see it on the post, you're like, wow, that's exciting. I'm excited to go to that event.
Yeah. I mean, I almost want to go just to be a fan. It's hard to do though, because, you know, obviously, when you're aware of all the moving parts, it's hard not to be sort of distracted, but nonetheless, it's still an event that no matter how hard you're working there, you're also having a fun time because it's just a gorgeous setting.
Yeah, you're also in paradise. We try to program great music from 2 p.m. till 3 a.m. So there's plenty of times just to sit back and be a fan. I mean, one of the greatest moments, like I remember from last year's Closer, was after Stephen Marley's set, sitting in the concert courtyard and watching Tribal Seed's late night set with him. And just, you know, it's just kind of the vibe. The artists are hanging, everybody's at the same resort. The artists are hanging, the fans are hanging, and, you know, there's constantly something fun to do. And it's just, you know, every year has just become this annual party we throw at the end of the year. And it's a lot of people that go every year. And it's honestly one of the things I'm most excited about to do every year, because it's just that special of an event.
Yeah, it's like a family, you know, and I think a lot of people really plan their years around it. You know, John, I remember running into you a couple of years ago on there down in that sort of main stage courtyard. And it was one of the first times I had walked in there. And I remember looking up and just, you know, like you see the rooms and you see people hanging their flags. What's it like for you guys kind of on the first day of the festival when people finally start showing up? I assume you've been there for, you know, maybe a week even leading up to it, or a couple of days at least, getting things ready. But seeing it come together, what does it feel like for you, John? Like in that moment when people start showing up?
I've never gone there that many days early like that. So the settle in process is generally we come in the night before or 2 nights before. And I remember last year rolling in like the same time when other guests and people had already gotten the party started, you know, so there was no time. It was like check in and then go right to the bar, and 20 stupid heads were forcing drinks down. You know, it's like, it's always a blast, you know, just the entry into it. It's one of those like pinch yourself as a dream come true that's happening again, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, seeing it grow from the small venue and the first time around when you saw that spirit of people literally staking their flags in the ground or putting them on their balconies, and just building that culture that is part of the DNA of that festival. It's cool to see it expand. And I know the feeling when you're in that main courtyard by the big, you know, main stage, and it's all lined up. Everyone's rooms are on the side with all their regalia for their bands and for the event. And it's impressive, you know, like it gives me an overwhelmingly positive, happy mental state.
Yeah. Yeah. And Matt, is it, you know, I assume it's the same for you. Do you usually roll in a day or two ahead of time, or sometimes you're rolling in right with the stupid heads too?
I usually get there a day or two ahead of time. So we usually do kind of a sound check, production check the day before. Actually, a lot of time there are some guests there too, because it is a hotel. But yeah, getting there, I usually get there a little early, and it's definitely, I'll say, you know, nice when you see it all come together and the fans are coming in, and you know, usually it's you know, it's just one of those things, like John was mentioning, from the first year to like getting into this and not really knowing how it was all going to go, to move into the new venue and looking at the concert courtyard and seeing everybody hanging their flags. And, you know, it's definitely a great, you know, great feeling, and just getting ready for a week of fun and music and paradise.
Yeah. There's a question in the comment here. I'm realizing maybe this wasn't clear. There's Angel Marie is saying Closer to the Sun album or the event. To clarify, we are talking about the event, but we would be remiss not to acknowledge that the namesake is the 2005 album. Maybe we should just. I'm sorry.
And song.
And the song, yeah, of course. We would be remiss not to touch on that. Maybe we should rewind real quick and touch on sort of like where the first visions of the event came. How, which came first, the song or the event? Obviously, the song came out before everybody, but how soon after that did you start envisioning an event and decide to name it that?
Ironically enough, the event's first conversation happened around 2005 too. In the initial conversation, we have partners on the event, Cloud9, that at the time they were doing the Jam Cruise and maybe one other event. They're great partners. Like they just on the production just knock the production out of the park every year. They just know how to throw these events and make them special, from cruises to land events, whatever. Like they've been a massive part of it, and we wouldn't have been able to pull any of this off without them. But Mark Brown, who's the owner of the company, reached out originally in 2005 or around then about doing Slightly Stoopid, G-Love, and Citizen Cope as an event at Hedonism in Jamaica. And we were all in for it for some reason or another. I don't exactly know, but Cope and G-Love, or one of them, wasn't in, and so we didn't do it then. And Cloud9 ended up doing something, I want to say, with Humphreys McGee and someone else, a little bit more of a jammy event. So that's kind of where the idea first started. And then, around 2013, as everything grew and Cloud9 had, a few events and some great venues to work with, that's when the conversations for the 2014 event happened. And, the name kind of came about with, it's kind of the perfect name for an event in Mexico. I want to say Mark had asked, like, what about Closer to the Sun? I was like, oh, let me talk to the, Kyle and Miles about that, if they'd be up for that name. And everybody loved it, and it just that just became the name.
It stuck. It works. I mean, I agree. Like, you can't really come up with a better name for something in Mexico like that.
No, especially because where it is in Mexico, you're like, in the area where all the ruins are, and it's, a very spiritual place, and it's just, you are close to the sun out there, and it's
Say this as far as stepping into the event. There's the first time back, you get in your room, and you're usually just looking at the horizon of the ocean and the sun coming down, or the sunrise, if sometimes that happens too. But that just is the quintessential moment, like, we're here, we're there, and it is it's just name. It defines the name right there.
Yeah, nailed it. So let's talk a little. You mentioned the ruins. I definitely want to let people know about some the activities in the excursions. When I was there a few years ago, I actually wasn't able to really get off the resort and do anything. But there's all sorts of stuff, from going to see the ruins not that far away. There's like boating stuff too, I believe. Can you guys give us a rundown of what kind of activities are available for people usually?
Yeah, I mean, every year we try to do something different. We also try to include the artists, so we let we run ideas by all the artists and kind of see what they're up for or not. But it's in a really special place of Mexico. I don't know, if you've ever been to Tulum, it's just one of the coolest spots I've ever been to, because it's just a nice little, I won't even call it a city. It's like a little town, a lot of great restaurants, resorts, shopping. And then you walk to the end of the road and you're literally like at the Mayan ruins, or, some part of it. It's just a really special spiritual place in Mexico. And, so we try to definitely get, in an organized fashion, get people off the resort to go see different parts of the area. We've done cenote tours where you get to go swimming in the cenotes. A lot of time it is with some of the artists, like either planned out excursion or just the artists tag along and go. We have other tours that go to the ruins and check out the Mayan ruins, try to do snorkeling and stuff like that as well. We also do a nice charity thing in Riviera Maya with Positive Legacy, where we artists and fans go out. I think G Love and Don Carlos have done it in the past, where they go into the town, and we actually raise a lot of money for the town through different charity auctions and things that Positive Legacy does, and they actually go to the town and just
environmental causes like saving the turtles and things like that.
Yeah, so just we try to make it as eventful and interactive. Like, a lot of people just want to be at the resort because you're there and everybody's in one place and there's constant music. But if you want to get out, we've done golf tournaments. Like Miles hosted a golf tournament one year. Kind of trying to think of all the different things we've done. We want to do a surf camp, but there's no waves out there, so that's kind of hard.
Oh yeah.
So I have to figure that out for a different event. But we try to make we like, when it was a smaller event, we'd always have the artists doing different activities. Now it's a little harder to pull that off, but a lot of times, like, even I've gone on the cenote tours, and it's like the guys from whatever band will just be in the shuttle going with you because it's a ride out to the cenotes. But it's a beautiful part of Mexico.
What were you saying, John?
I said, yeah, you could have one of the guys from Pepper like cannonballing over your head off a cenote cliff or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's one of the beautiful things about this festival in particular is, like, a lot of the festivals that we all kind of see each other at over the country, you will see the artists walking through the crowd or something, but this is small enough to be a much more intimate experience. And the artist to fan ratio is, because the event doesn't have as many people, is like, you're much more likely to like have Kaleo cannonballing over your head, or Kyle making a margarita right next to you, or K-Bong playing basketball with you. I mean, things like that have really defined the experience just from my limited time being there, but seeing everybody else talk about it and seeing the photos, it's really a special event in the sense that you're there for a week, and the artists are right there too. And it's just a pretty amazing opportunity to really hang out and connect and just have a fun time. And
that's really what Close to the Sun's all about as an event, and where it's originated is just kind of getting this group of fans and bands at one resort. And we do a lot of stuff on site too, like you mentioned, Kyle doing margaritas, Kaleo from Pepper and his wife Mel, they host the yoga sessions and do yoga every morning. OG from Stoopid also does host yoga one morning. So we, and then there's like the Close to the Rim basketball tournament that, we put together that K-Bong actually wins every year.
Not every year.
Not every year, but close. But we try to like create a vibe outside of just the music. But I think a lot of the fun of, a lot of what makes this event so special is it is a limited amount of like we keep it all at one resort. So it's a limited amount of fans and artists, and you're all at the same resort. So if you're a band and you want to go get a drink at the bar, you're going to be hanging out with, your fans. And, I think the bands over time have really grown to love that aspect of it, because they meet fans at Closer, and then, when they're rolling through whatever city it is, those fans are now, in the front row, and most of them are getting backstage and hanging out. And it's, definitely created like a little community and family of its own, which is, kind of what we set out to do when we first put it together.
And during the pandemic, an interesting thing is the year that we had Closer Off is, we saw the sprouting of these homegrown, Closer to the Sun family private events. So like fans were actually bringing the Closer community to their homes and hiring these bands, while there was nothing else out there. Several events, like just offhand, Closer to the Clines at Stoopid played. It was a backyard last year. And Reggae and the Rockies, which one of the Closer to the Sun family guys in Wyoming started. It was like everybody that came to these places were not from those places. They were the Closer family that actually flew in for these private events that were, 100, 200, people, and it was Closer family. And for me, going to those ones, that's a really unique thing, because it's like if you're part of the Closer family, no matter where you're at and where they're gathering, it's like everybody really is tight knit and is a family. And it's cool, like people bring their wares, like little merchandise that they make and tokens, and just pass it around. And the spirit like that's grown out of that's one of the, to me, kind of just seeing how much of an impact that event has had. It's created this own unique little thing that, even when we couldn't do it, was living and breathing out there. It took it into their own hands.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament to anything that is built with love and built to last. It's like seeing people take it and continue in their own vision, particularly during COVID, in the absence of the real event being able to happen. I remember hearing about the Closer to the Clines event with Bobby, and Reggae and the Rockies with Dave. And, these are people who were really part of that community and are sort of building communities that are an extension of it. I mean, that's one of the coolest things in the world. And it must be so special for you and the Stoopid guys to see these things happening and understand that it's all been inspired by the community that people have found at the event you guys have been putting together. And, thinking about the way that artists interact with the fans there, one of the things that strikes me is that, when you're in one city per night on tour, it's like there's kind of a sense of urgency in general. You gotta play the show and you gotta move on. And for the fan, it's similarly, it's like, this is your one night. And if you're gonna see that artist, you got to make sure you say exactly the right thing, because like you've been thinking about it so much. But at Closer to the Sun, there's a natural relaxation there, and I imagine that you don't have that moment where you're like, oh my God, this is the only chance I'm ever going to be able to say this one thing, because it's like 3 days later you run into him again, and you kind of realize the artists are also super stoked to be there. And it's just fun to hang out with people who are having a fun time and have a shared interest, in doing that together and celebrating together. So it's one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the thing I love about it is just watching everybody interact, and it's when you're there, you're all just one big family, and it's grown over the years. So it's a little bit bigger of a family now, but there's no shortage of your chance to go meet your favorite artist, or hang or have a beer with your favorite artist, or go watch another one of your favorite bands with your favorite artist. And, the other great thing about the spirit of Closer is all the bands are sitting in and playing with each other, and you get just these rare performances that you don't get to see in normal shows, because you don't have 10 of these bands at one location. And, it's really, it's special to see. And for us too, I mean, we get to meet a lot of the fans that you normally wouldn't get to meet. And, just it is something, like John said, and the testament to these fans who've kind of taken it to this next level, but the community that it's built, and we see it all the different little pop-up shows and groups forming to go see other shows that aren't even like, it could be a movement show. You'll see a group of 50 Closer fans coming together to go to the movement show together. Like, it's just, it's amazing. And it's been great to kind of see it grow from like, 500 people to 3,000 people or wherever it is now. But the intimacy of it all and the spirit of it has all stayed the same as far as, these fans they made lifelong friends. And even like with some of the bands, I see it all the time, like, members of, Stick Figure hanging out with members of the Closer family. Like, it's cool. Like, it's just a great thing to see. And it's really what music's about. Like, music's about bringing us all together. And, all the artists are, they're just normal, good people as well. And to see everybody just come together and, keep those long-term relationships kind of, it's what makes it such a special event.
Well, I was going to say for us too, is like, we get to interact and get kind of hang time, closer time with the artists that we bring in, because at bigger festivals and shows, you're not really getting to hang the way you do here. And I mean, we've been able to, get some really valuable time with artists and musicians that we care about. I mean, last year or 2 years ago, I got to go to Toots' room and like actually just sit with Toots Hibbert, not knowing he was going to pass away. I made the decision that if Toots and Steven were going to come, well, we all made the decision to come to Closer to the Sun. We were going to like supply them with some of Cali's finest to make their trip a little bit more special. So, you get to hand deliver tokens of appreciation like that and get some face time with legends, that you wouldn't otherwise do. I mean, it's really part of building relationship with Stephen Marley like that. A lot of that happens because you get to an environment like this and people's guards are down and, they're just like Matt said, we walk over and go check out Tribal Seeds with Stephen Marley and we're just chilling. And you don't get to do that very often, Thievery Corporation was out there and they had their own little mezcal company and we're sampling their mezcal together back there. And Michael Franti did what was it, Hanukkah with us?
Really?
Which one?
With Michael Franti when he ran the Hanukkah celebration.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
So doing tequila shots with Franti, so it's just very unique for us to have those opportunities as well, and it's super, super cool to be able to do that.
Yeah, and talking about the ease of which people are sort of hanging out with each other and running into each other from artists to fans. I remember you were mentioning the late night sets earlier and how, particularly in those, any late night set, people loose and having fun. But I remember the very last set of 2018 was the Movement doing a late night set.
Legendary
and I'm sure there was a hard curfew and I'm sure we stopped when we needed to, but I remember needing to like tell the guys to cut like 6 songs off of the set because there was some moment where somebody sat in for a verse, but Hyrie shows up right then and she should sing a verse too. And Stick Figure shows up. It was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, have him do it. And then, one of the guys from Pepper shows up. Yeah, and Brett Wilson from Roots of Creation grabs the guitar and next thing we knew, we had like a 20-minute song, and it was like, man, we really don't have that much time left, but this is amazing. And you just have those. It's an environment where
and that's kind of like just a microcosm of this event. Like that set was incredible because it's like you were saying, last set, late night. But I want to say almost every artist from the event, like you're saying, Stick, Pepper, Stoopid, like Hyrie, everybody sat in on that set. I like John and I have always been the believers of pushing the limits on curfews, and our partners are actually really good at dealing with the resort and all of that. So I feel like there's always time to push things a little later, especially when special moments like that are happening. The last thing you want to do as a concert promoter or anybody who's a fan of the arts is cut off a band in the middle of a special moment, because that's what we all live for, is those special moments. They don't happen at every show.
Yeah, but at Closer, there does seem to be like a high ratio of pretty incredible, unique moments compared to a lot of shows.
And I think it's just putting all these talented people and amazing fans, amazing community in one place where everybody's having fun and feels safe and is loose enough to put their guard down. I mean, it's that kind of environment, and that's what, that's really what it's all about. And it's like, even crazy thing, like I saw G Love and Citizen Cope write a song together on the spot in their room, and that came out 2 years later. These cool moments like that happen at Closer, and it's, I think it's grown and become something like beyond our wildest imagination, but it's definitely like, it's special, and it's special for us. It's like we get to hang with other, artists, like John was saying, even other managers or people, just people that we don't normally, when you're in the grind and thick of it, you don't get to, spend as much time or sit at the bar and have a drink with somebody. And that's, it's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, the fan experience is something that I think is important to all of us, but with Closer, the loyalty program in particular is just like absolutely amazing. And I was just checking out the website before we jumped on this chat, and I was seeing that there's the High Fiver meetup, like people who have been there for 5, 6, 7 years in a row. Actually, has that been happening for the last few years?
Yeah, it's fun. We just got off a conference call before this about what we're going to do for the 7-timers. There's people that have been there from the beginning, and the event's grown. We changed resorts. We moved it from now Sapphire, which was an amazing place to start, to the Hard Rock, which actually allows us to throw a real rock show, because there's the space to put a real stage and have real production without getting like sound ordinances and all that stuff. But it's seeing those fans, like getting to know them from year 1 to year 7 is just amazing, and a testament to the fan base that it is, and something we need to try to figure out moving forward is like, this year it sold out on the pre-sale, so it didn't even really go to the public on sale. And that's a good thing, but it's also like, we want new people to experience Closer to the Sun. Like we read the chat boards, we read the messaging, like it bums us out too, but it's kind of the challenge of keeping something intimate and still growing at the same time. But the people that have been there from the beginning, it's just the most special things. And like, we've all become good friends with them over the years, and see them over the course of different festivals and different summers. And, I think, and even like people 6 years, 5 years, 3 years, 4 years, it's like different kind of levels of it. It's all just become one big family,
Yeah. So I was curious, I was looking through past lineups, and there's a very obvious moment where, like, what was it, 2016, I think, that you guys, 2017 maybe, that you guys moved into, or was it 18 actually? Was 18
was the first year of the Hard Rock.
And did it double in capacity when you guys moved to Hard Rock?
Yeah, doubled in capacity, or a little more than doubled in capacity. But it also allowed us to throw, like, Sapphire was great. Like, there's an alert of that venue, and I think some of the Closer purists like still wish the event was there. And who knows, one day maybe we'll do it there. Maybe we'll have a second weekend that's there. Maybe that's how we grow it, but it, the Hard Rock, just, it's a better foot. Like, you could put a real stage and real sound, but we still have like the beach stage and the lagoon stage and the late night stage. But it's really just kind of sharing the moment and making it bigger. Allows us to bring more bands, allows us to bring a better production quality, more what you'd expect from, any other like mainland festival. And it's like I feel we've done it without losing the intimacy. I know so there's a small group of closer purists who are like, oh well, the days of just sitting on the swings and watching the bands play the main stage, which was great, but we were limited there. And but it's I love the hard rock. To me, that's kind of what I envision for Closer. It's just you could do everything there and still have the intimate feel.
Yeah,
there's the Bret Michaels suite, which you don't get anywhere else.
I was just remembering it myself. The Bret Michaels suite is like an epic. I think I remember the first time walking in there. Like mirrors on the ceilings and a bar here and a balcony there, and
champagne on ice.
Champagne on ice, yeah. Quite the place. I'm pretty sure I saw the sunrise from that balcony at some point.
I have too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's
what's that, John?
I said that's Clay Guida's suite now. He took it's a Clay Guida suite.
There you go. Hey, I mean, if he's got his name on it, it's all his.
They took down the Bret Michaels posters and they got Clay and the American flag and all the shit up there now.
Amazing.
For those who don't know, the late night party after all the shows happens at the Bret Michaels suite, and Clay Guida is a friend of ours who's a UFC champion, and he's usually the one holding it down up there till the sun rises, as well as band members and various characters. I'm usually in bed by 2, so I don't go too late these days.
You don't stay. You go to bed at 2, so you get in early now.
Oh yeah, I get in early these days.
Yeah. So I know you said that it sold out on presale, but I did see a comment here from Ted Knoop earlier saying it was his first. This is going to be his first CTTS. And, Ted is a name I recognize from. Ted
is very well connected.
Very well connected. And it's wild that it's his first Closer to the Sun. So, Ted, I mean, I can't believe it's your first time, but welcome to the party, man. I mean,
I can't believe that either, because I've for sure feel like I've had a beer with Ted by one of the pools.
Well, so maybe
I'm wrong.
We'll make up for lost time this year, Dupes.
There you go. So in the event that people, I got to plug my computer in. We're getting that excited. In the event that somebody has never been to Closer, John, what advice do you have for somebody who's never been there before?
Probably to pace yourself, because it's like one thing I say about Closer to the Sun. You cannot walk 20 yards without good food, good drinks, and good music. And doing that for 4 days, plus everything else, plus being in the sun, drinking, and just pace yourself. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and you'll enjoy yourself a lot more if you don't go too Richter on night 1. And
yeah.
It's, but that'd be my best advice, is pace yourself.
Yep. Matt, what about like if there's one thing you got to make sure you remember to pack? Have you gotten there and been like, God, I can't believe I forgot this? Anything like that?
There's a few things you want to pack. I mean, God, the thing you definitely want to get over there is, try to get your supplies over there.
Mm.
But there's plenty at the resort. I mean, it's one of those things too. It's there's you could always find what you need there, in many ways. If you forget your swimsuit, there's a Billabong store on site. So it's I think John kind of more hit it. It's like just when you get there, make sure you pace yourself, because it's all you can eat, all you can drink. Like once you're there, you don't pay a dime for anything. And you could we've definitely seen people like night 1 just like they're out, like came off the plane wasted, and didn't even make it to the headliner. You want to make it to night 3. Night 3 is usually when we throw like the theme night party, which is usually a lot of fans' favorite night. But yeah, as far as forgetting something, I mean, I think you're going there to unplug. So just, make sure. Yeah, I don't think there's anything you really could
Bring
forget.
your basketball shoes if you want to compete and closer to the rim. Don't forget those.
There you go.
I don't think they have.
Somebody's got to give K-Bong a run for his money.
Huh?
Somebody's got to give K-Bong a run for his money.
Yeah. Trying. We haven't taken the Silverback team yet, but it's all a mix. You know what I mean? No one's just on one team, but there's a few dynasties, so we're trying to figure that out because it's gotten to the point where 7 years in, or I don't know if we had it the first year, but it's gotten to be competitive now. And
we did. Don't you remember Citizen Cope showing up the first year with?
Oh yeah, Cope and his drummer. Yeah,
and his drummer. They actually won the first one, I think, if I'm recollecting.
They're ballers, dude.
Cope was like in some like Timberland boots, and he's just laced them up, Timberland boots, and he wasn't wearing his resort wear, that's for sure.
Right.
He laced them up, and him and his drummer were balling.
He was hitting those Venice Beach courts for a while before that.
Yeah.
And Garrett's no slouch at basketball. I mean, that's been a real fun one. We love basketball and sports, and to see that one kind of resonate the way it has is it's a fun little departure, from stuff.
Yeah. Well, I know the Ineffable Compound has been hard on basketball from day one.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm there, I'm probably the only guy who doesn't really ball all the time. So I'm just afraid I'm going to go make a fool out of myself there. But those guys shoot some basketball for sure.
K-Bong wins every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. So don't forget your high tops.
Don't forget your sneakers. Okay. Don't forget your sneakers, pace yourself, and prepare to unplug. Sounds like pretty solid advice.
Fun, let the experience take you. For the most part, a lot of the fans there, it's like they're all kind of friendly. They know each other from different shows. I mean, that's the thing about this community. They're going to probably 10 shows a year in their city together or following different shows around. So they're all pretty friendly together. And it's just, it's one of those places once you're there, you don't really need anything else.
All inclusive. That's the whole thing about it. Once you're there, I mean, everything's there just at your fingertips pretty much. So you don't really need anything else,
Yeah. So one of the things that's also pretty defining about the Closer to the Sun experience, I think, is the artist at large sit-ins. And I know that we can't talk about what's happening this year, but can you guys take me back to some of the memories you have of, I know Carl Denson has been there many, many years sitting in with lots of people. G-Love, if he's not actually officially on the lineup, he's probably there playing. Are there some special artist sit-ins like that you remember from over the years?
I mean, there's tons. I mean, I always like there's one, when Ian Neville comes up with Stoopid out of nowhere, when Brett's come up with Stoopid on Franklin's was one on the main stage, I remember. A lot of the pop-ups that aren't even scheduled where people get together, just acoustic, where popped up at the pool at Now Sapphire or the pool outside at the Brett Michaels suite after the last one. There's some, and I mean, that one had Scotty, Brett, Cable, and the people come up from all over from every band and even bands that aren't on the event are there playing. And that's really deep, because it keeps going even beyond what's programmed. Of course, I mean, the reggae legends sitting in with Stoopid when you get Yellow Man and Don Carlos and Carl and Ian and G, there's just spectacular array of possibilities that happen.
Yeah,
that's the thing. There's the scheduled shows, and then there's the shows that just form. Like John was saying, I mean, at the old resort at Sapphire, there was always a 30-person hang at the private pool that artists were playing at 5 a.m. At the Hard Rock. I mean, I wasn't there. John could attest to it, but I know there was a show that formed with like, some of the Stick Figures guys and Brett from Roots of Creation, and a few of the bands that were there that weren't even playing. Another killer show I remember was we booked G Love and Friends late night, but G Love didn't really it wasn't like a planned show. It was just like G Love was there and his friends were just the other bands on the event, and that show turned into like G Love, Carl Denson, Ethan Tucker, Brett Wilson, Kyle from Stoopid came up for a few songs, the Stupid Horn section, and every other artist was there, and it just became like this. It was almost like a freestyle session that there was this band just playing. The Expanders were there that year, and it was their bass player ended up playing bass the whole time.
Michael Franti just showed up because he was on vacation with his family out there, and he called.
I think that was the same year Franti came onto that set.
He was just whatever, and he came over with his whole family. He was swimming. He jumped up on stage with Ethan Tucker and did the songs he produced with Ethan, and it just like that was pretty cool,
Amazing.
Yeah.
He was there on vacation.
Yeah. Year 2 or 3, I forget what year it was, but yeah, we got a call. Franti was in that area on vacation, saw like the social media post or something, and we got a call like, yeah, Michael wants to bring his family to the event. And they keep those resorts pretty locked down. It's not like easy even just to get Michael Franti in. And him and his family, they came and spent the whole day like hanging out at the pool, and then he was just jumping up on different sets. Like John mentioned, the Ethan Tucker set, he stayed for the late night set with G Love and did a song. And it's like just special moments like that just happen in that time and place. And it's not just like, hey, these artists are here playing the event and they're going to sit in and all that. But it's just like the rare moment that Michael Franti's there, or like the Thievery Corporation guys, like one of the guys has a house in Playa del Carmen, so they pop it. It's just special moments like that, that really make the event special.
Yeah. I remember hearing about from the Expanders guys about that late night set, and Cheeky's on the bass playing all night long, and I feel like John Butcher
was playing guitar,
was playing all night long too, and anybody who knows those guys knows that like the late night party is a good place to hang out with them and have an exciting time. I'm seeing Chris Scott is reminding everybody to bring your sunscreen. Sunscreen,
you can get that there too. Might cost you $10. That's one thing you got to pay for.
Yep. And bring somebody else is saying bring a floaty. Make sure you bring those. I'm sure you can get those there too.
If I got some advice for Chris Scott, he should bring himself one year.
Chris, you need to bring yourself. Dude, we're going to put you on blast right there. Sunscreen and yourself, Chris. Yeah, I remember being there and being surprised that I hadn't run into Chris. Was he not there? Dude, we got to talk, Chris.
Yeah, we'll bring that conversation offline.
There we go.
The 3 of us will have to call Chris.
Yeah, have a power call
for this year.
Yeah, nice. Man, guys, so in preparing for the event between now and December, the lineup is announced. You've got some more activities and things. Having done this 7 years now, is what's keeping you busy for the event between now and then? Or is it the type of thing that has grown to the point and you've done it so many times and your partners at Cloud9 are so tuned in and know what needs to happen? Are you guys enjoying the ride between now and then, or is there a ton of stuff that needs to happen between now and then?
There's definitely a lot that needs to happen. I mean, we still got to program all the scheduling and fitting, putting that together to where it's a nice flow every day. All the different special events on site and off site, we kind of get with each artist and each artist manager to see what, they want to do. And we, definitely love to have artist participation. Obviously there's a lot of logistics that have to be dealt with from now and then, but for us it's kind of nice because we were up earlier this year than normal, as far as on sale and sold out earlier
Yeah.
than normal. So it's a little, there's definitely a little breathing room in between. But I think for us, just thinking of different ways to keep it special and keep it unique and do different, bring different experiences, we always try to bring a chef from the US to provide, food in the courtyard. So figuring out who that is. We're still booking special guests and acoustic shows and different performances. So there's still like another round of artist announcements that we're working on. But yeah, I mean, it's really just adding the finishing touches to it. And, for us, Cloud9 really handles the resort side of the things as far as and they do an amazing job of it. Like whoever's been, it's like all the little details they think of, dressing the resort up and building stages in unique areas. Like the late night stage is stairs that go up to the late night club, the late night club. And they figured out a way to put a stage there,
Yeah.
the lagoon. Like when we first moved it, the first feedback we heard was like, oh, there's going to be no beach stage. Like, that was kind of like what fans love, feet on the sand, while watching a show. We talked to Cloud9 and the production people. It's like, okay, well, let's create a beach stage. And, now not only your feet in the sand, but your, toes are in the water. And it's, the beach stage now in this beautiful lagoon where you catch some of the most amazing sunsets. And I feel like some of the, more legendary sets have happened at that stage. So it's really just, making sure that we're putting together different unique experiences like that and programming it to where, you're getting to see bands in different formats. Like we try to get bands away from just being like, we're going to play 2 sets on the main stage. Like, hey, like strip down acoustic and go play the lagoon stage, or let's do a late night stage where all the guests are coming up, like the movement set we were talking about earlier. And between now and then, it's really putting those finishing touches on it.
Yeah, those things that make the difference between good and great, really.
Yeah.
It's like thinking about the experience and curating something that's not just show up and come to a concert. It's come here and settle in.
Yeah.
There's a lot to experience.
Yes, yeah. On that net, we always get bands who are like, oh, I just want to leave after our set. And then when they come back, they're like, oh, can we have our room for the whole time? Like, we want to stay and experience everything. So,
Yeah.
But it's a little off topic.
Oh, well, I mean, we can go there. I mean, but I guess we'll wrap it up here before too long. But, before we go, is there anything that you want fans to know about this year coming up? Anything to help get them excited about the experience beyond the last hour of stuff we've been telling them about already? Is there anything you want to let people know before we part ways?
I just think after a year off or 2 years off, really, by the time we get there, it's just going to be great to have everybody back in one area, all the fans, all the bands, and people involved. And just, I feel like this year is going to be a bigger party than ever. Just just having that year coming off the pandemic and roll, there's gonna be a lot of tours and festivals in between then, but for us, just having everybody in Mexico at one place, it's just gonna be special after the last 2 years we've experienced as a society and an industry. And just it's been way too long since we've seen everybody.
Yeah, well, coming back strong. John, anything, hugs and high fives all around, right?
For sure. Well, yeah, fist pumps.
There we go.
My hugs too. Yeah, I mean, just grateful that we're being able to come back and do what we do. And like Matt said, after a year, it's just to be able to, you lose what you had, and you kind of just reevaluate and realize again, how special it really is. So be very grateful that it's being able to happen again.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for not only having this conversation today, but for creating something that so many people love, that is worthy of. This small conversation is just the tip of the iceberg of the amazing event that you guys have built. So I'm super stoked that it's coming back after the time off. I won't be able to be there myself, unfortunately, but I'm pretty excited for everybody who will be. And I'll just make sure I get my tickets for 2022.
Right on. We'll have to have some more of your bands out in 2022.
There we go. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I was going to say see you in Mexico, but I guess I'll see you before then.
We'll see each other before then, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We'll find a good reason. But.
For sure.
Cool. Isn't the movement's coming out here in July, right? To play Klein's private?
Yeah. The movement's coming out in July. There's one show in Felton a couple days before, and then down at Bobby's for closer to the Klein. So should be pretty exciting. Maybe I'll make it out for that one, actually. I was forgetting that's coming up so soon. Yeah. Are you guys going to be there?
I think Dan Kelly and possibly Law might get added to that one. I was talking to him.
Awesome.
Yeah, it would be a good time to see everybody there. Maybe as a little, preheat or whatever.
Little pre-party.
Yeah, definitely got to try to make it out for that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Reed. Thanks for having us, man. It's always good catching up.
Always.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for taking the time. We'll be doing it again sometime soon, and maybe I'll see you over at Bobby's. Bobby, if you're watching, be prepared.
Bobby.
Make it out. It's going to be pretty exciting.
Get your bedroom ready, Bobby.
There you go.
Much love to all the stupid heads and Rootfire TV, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, everybody. We'll catch you all later.
Thanks, Reed.